Hey, welcome to this week's episode of Patriot Talk. Well, last week on the blog, we introduced our new series titled Vet the Judge. And I've decided to hold off on the first article until later this week because I wanted to talk to you first. I think it's very important to provide some context for what we're going to be doing and why. The series will analyze and look at the political and governing record of White County Judge Mike Lincoln. Now, for those of you who don't know, we've been documenting Judge Lincoln's performance on the blog for the past several years, and now he's up for re-election, and he's facing a very formidable opponent in the primary coming up in a few short weeks here in White County. So we're going to take a look at his record. We're going to review some of the stories we've been covering for a while. We're going to update you on those because, you see, Judge Lincoln has never really been vetted. In fact, he's just never been vetted at all. He's never been asked tough questions because the local media has always given him a pass. So we're going to do that here at the Arkansas Patriot. The first two times that Mike Lincoln ran for judge, he faced the same challenger, somewhat of a local conspiracy theorist who leveled all sorts of crazy claims against the judge and accused him of colluding with Harding and accused Harding of running experiments on homosexuals and on and on and on. And it was a big charade, a big spectacle. And I think Judge Lincoln mostly benefited from that, mostly received a pass and the benefit of the doubt from people who just knew that his opponent was way too controversial to get anywhere near the judge's office. It's kind of funny when you think about it that the local paper considers me to be a conspiracy theorist, but not that man. Anyway, the last election, Judge Lincoln faced a challenge from a pretty reasonable Democrat opponent, someone who's well-known, well-respected. But again, Lincoln benefited greatly from the 2010 Republican wave that swept across the entire country. This time, he has a different challenge. He's facing a challenge in the primary from someone on his right, and he's got his hands full. So what is Judge Lincoln doing now that he has a strong opponent, you might ask? He's deflecting. What all good politicians do. He's taken the attention off of his record, off of the scandals that have constantly surrounded his office, and he's trying to make this about his opponent. He's trying to make this about personalities. He's trying to create stories about conflicts of interest. But Judge Lincoln, what about all your conflicts of interest? What about when you purchased a building from one of your largest political donors with taxpayer money? You spent $600,000 and made a bid on the building without having it appraised. And what about when you took $30,000 from all the banks in town and used it to promote your tax plan? You know, the banks that were going to directly benefit from the passage of the tax. Or what about when you hired your friend from church and started paying him $2,000 a month to do your job for you, as in go around the county and meet with all the mayors and promote economic development? No conflict of interest there, Judge Lincoln. Okay, no story here. Just let's keep moving. The Arkansas Patriot has played a very vital role in Judge Lincoln's time in office, and we've followed a lot of these stories, and we're going to see them through to the end. In fact, we're the ones who broke the story about Judge Lincoln hiring his friend from church and paying him $2,000 a month. We're the ones who filed the ethics complaint against him and initiated an investigation by the Arkansas Ethics Commission, after which he was officially charged and found in violation of state law. Now, of course, he still says he did nothing wrong, so I guess we should just all forgive him, even though the entire Ethics Commission agreed. And we're the ones that broke the story about his palm-greasing OEM purchase, that one I mentioned where his friend stood to make about $30,000. And regarding that purchase of that building, I mentioned earlier about the appraisal. Judge Lincoln did not want to have the building appraised. In fact, he'd already made a bid on the property, as I said, before he finally had it appraised after much pressure from myself and members of the quorum court. Well, we broke the story after he did have the appraisal done that his appraiser did not actually have a business license from the city of Searcy, and later found out that he may not have been licensed to conduct a commercial appraisal by the state of Arkansas. This prompted several members of the quorum court to initiate an investigation that is still underway. And we have documented thoroughly Judge Lincoln's Office of Emergency Management Director, Tamara Jenkins, theft of thousands of dollars of property from the county taxpayers. And of course, Judge Lincoln has given her a pass, and he's defended her in the media, and even last week defended her in the judges' debate, and said that she was a great employee, and that because all of the money was there now, all of it's been paid back after, granted, a state police investigation, that everything was fine. There was no theft of property. And this is the intellectual equivalent, let me remind you, of me stealing the judge's car and bringing it back 2 years later. Would that not be a theft of property? Through all of this, we haven't even touched on all of the private roads that Judge Lincoln has been paving at, of course, the expense of the taxpayers. So over the next couple weeks on the blog and here on Patriot Talk, we're going to review all these stories and all these controversies. We're going to give you the facts, and we're going to let you make an informed decision, an informed vote on May 22nd in the White County Judges primary. Now, we're not going to get personal. I've never been that way. That's never been my style, and we're not going to do it. I've been on the receiving end of a lot of those personal attacks from the judge and from his supporters, so I know what it feels like. And we're not going to go there. But we will report the facts, and we will report the truth without fear. The judge and his supporters are going to accuse me and other writers on my blog of dirty politics and name-calling and personal attacks. I fully expect that. We've experienced that before. But here's what you've got to understand. That's their only defense. Their only defense for his pitiful governing record is to deflect, is to put the blame on someone else. And we're not going to let it happen. You can deflect the truth and hide from the truth, but it doesn't change the truth. We're going to expose it in the next few weeks on the Arkansas Patriot. And James Madison would agree with us. He said the truth is that all men with power ought to be mistrusted. I hope you enjoy this series. I hope you'll consider sharing it, liking it, retweeting it out, and getting it in front of your friends so they can learn about what's going on in White County politics. The series will launch very shortly on the blog, arkansaspatriot.us, and it will not disappoint.